Hello friend, I hope you're doing well. I'm in the middle of moving, so it is a little bit messy right now. However, in the midst of that, we decided to make a little impromptu trip to Lowe's. So I decided that I am going to take you along with me to check out the plant section just a little bit so that I can actually show you some of the best plants to use in your fish tanks for those of you who want to incorporate houseplants into your tanks. And if you have actually put some in your tank before, I want you to go ahead and comment your favorite ones. I'm just curious as to which are your favorite to use. But today, hopefully you will find a few more kinds that you really love. Now, in addition to that, I'm actually going to demonstrate really quick on some of the houseplants I already have a method that is really easy to use to tell whether or not this plant will be easy to chop and prop in your tank. So let's go over to one of my favorite plants and I will show you that. Here's one of my most favorite plants that I have right now. I just love it so much. It's so big and bushy and it's absolutely gorgeous. Now, although I'm pretty decent with plants, I'm not great with the names. So I will put the official name of this plant up here in the video somewhere so you will know because I am not super great with names just yet, but I am working on that. So one very easy way to tell with plants whether or not they'll be easy to chop a piece off to propagate and grow in your tank is to look for what we call nodes. And those are going to be the little nubbies like this one that you see right here. Essentially this, and I will zoom in a little bit for you, essentially this is a dormant root. So this, once chopped off, you will want to cut it off about here and placed in water when this is submerged, it will actually activate and start to grow a long root out, which is essentially going to be the plant's lifeline because that's what's going to take in all the nutrients. So if you are ever out and about, or if you have some houseplants of your own and you want to know whether or not they'll be easy to chop and propagate, take a look and see if you can find a little node like this. And if you can, then it's really easy to propagate. I will also say that plants such as philodendrons and pothos plants, those two, any type, are very easy to propagate in your tank, and they are some of the most common plants used in aquariums today. One more of my plants that I did want to show off really quickly is this beautiful angel wing begonia. It is my favorite. Look how big the leaves are. This was actually a rescue last year from Walmart. I found it in the clearance plant section and it is just huge. This gives you an idea of how truly big it is. This is a 10-gallon tank and it is taller than the tank itself. But it was just so little when I first got it. It was $5 in the clearance aisle last year in Walmart and I could not be happier with how it's turned out. But I wanted to show you also that begonias are fantastic to use in your tank and they're super easy to propagate. So for these, you aren't going to see a node exactly like what I showed you on my previous plant. For begonias, typically you're going to see a little ring, such as the one here and here. I went ahead and put on my macro lens so I could get a closer shot, but for begonias, the roots are typically going to grow out of this ring. However, one really neat thing I've noticed is that if you see all these little hair-like stripes along the entire stem here, roots will actually grow from those as well. Roots can also come from that ring right there. So if you're looking to propagate a begonia, look for something like this and chop it off directly underneath. One more thing that's really important to note, when you are chopping off a piece of your plant, make sure that you don't dunk it into the water immediately. You need to give it a couple hours for that raw part to callus. Otherwise, it's going to start rotting in the water. And that can actually prevent your cutting from rooting, which will eventually kill it. And you won't get a nice new plant and it won't grow well in your fish tank. So give it a couple hours, just set it down on a desk somewhere or on a table and let that part dry up and callus for a few hours. The plant piece will be totally fine, but that will keep it from rotting. All right, so now that I've given you a little run through, let's go ahead and go to Lowe's and look at some plants. I may or may not be doing a voiceover for that segment. I'm not entirely sure. It just depends on how many people are there because I don't want to bring a lot of attention to myself if I am talking aloud. So I may just do a voiceover over this next part. But either way, I'm excited to see what they have. Summer is one of the best seasons to find these exotic and beautiful indoor plants at Lowe's. Once you start getting into the fall and winter, they kind of die off and they just disappear and they don't carry as many as they do during the summer. So if it is currently summer where you are, take a trip to Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace even. They sometimes have plants, but Lowe's is typically the best. Lowe's and Home Depot. Before we go, I did really want to share one of my favorite, my camera's slipping. I really did want to show off one of my biggest houseplants that I do currently have. It has been struggling a little bit with a bout of thrips, which is a pest that will actually feed on the plant's leaves, but I think I'm winning the battle. I created a homemade spray that kind of took care of them, so that's good, but I really am loving how it looks. It's beautiful. Monsteras are gorgeous, gorgeous plants and really good plants to have in any corner of your room. If you have an empty corner of your fish room, these are good. And they're also very, very easy to chop and propagate in your tank as well. So beautiful plants. All right, I finally made it to Lowe's and there was a really nice selection. Really, really nice. And yes, I did decide to do a voiceover because there was music playing and I did actually get hiccups on the ride there, so trying to talk there probably would not have been a whole lot of fun. But they had a nice selection and I just decided to walk you through all of them, even though I didn't really find any that I was particularly interested in, so sadly I didn't take any home. But there are some beautiful Chinese evergreen down there, gorgeous plants. I actually have had them in the past, really love those. Those are good for your fish tank too. I have a sneaking suspicion that I missed the best time for plants, even though it's still technically summer. I don't think I made it early enough, and so a lot of the ones that I was wanting and looking for are probably already sold. But that plant right there, that is a prayer plant, and those do really well in the tank as well. If you see me pointing at any specific area of a plant throughout this video, those are just sections and the area where you would chop it off and propagate. I'm just kind of highlighting the nodes on each plant. You definitely do not want to buy a whole plant, take the plant out of the pot, and stick it in your tank. Don't do that. It's dangerous for your fish. That's not how you do it. What you do is you buy a plant and you can take as many cuttings off of it as you want, and you would root those in your tank. That way they will grow big, beautiful, and healthy. I really liked this plant. I don't know what it was called. At first I thought it was a begonia, but I don't think it is. It was super pretty though. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely the type of person that only goes for the plants I really, really love. I know a lot of people just buy any kind of plant and their house is full of them, and I love it. But personally, I love the plants that have specific patterns or different colors and variation and variegation. Those are my favorite types of plants. So I'm a little bit picky and I don't have as many as some, but I love the ones that I do have. There's another prayer plant. I love how many variations of color that these plants have. You can get red and green ones, you can get green and light green ones, you can get, I don't know. I honestly, I probably haven't even seen all the types, but there right there was a begonia and I was looking for begonias, but sadly I didn't take this one home because it was a good price. I think it was $6, something like that, and it was good, but I don't know, I just didn't take it home. I think it was too small. I was looking for something bigger. Now this plant I almost bought, but like I said, I really love the color and I love plants with pattern, and this one just didn't have that, but it was only $20 and this thing was huge. Huge, this philodendron. Massive. Almost got it, but I decided to leave it behind, and this one was gorgeous. Another type of philodendron, and I love it. I love all the plants that they have. This one was beautiful. All of these were beautiful. It was golden hour, so that golden sun on the leaves was beautiful. That plant right there, I do believe it's a type of monstera. It had a bunch of little nodes, so those again would be perfect to cut and root in your tank. I will admit I was a little bit sad when I got to this section because a couple months ago there was a plant that they had, a pink princess philodendron, and I passed up on it because I thought I'll be back soon and I'll buy it. They didn't have it. So if you see a plant that you want, buy it, because they definitely aren't always guaranteed to have it, and I was so sad. I did find the clearance section and they had a begonia, the exact one I was looking at, and it was cheaper. But again, it was just super small, and I just decided to pass on it, but it's a good deal. So definitely make sure you check your clearance section especially right now as summer is coming to an end, because that's when they start marking their plants down and getting rid of them and downsizing, so you can usually find some pretty good deals. All right, friend, I did find a few more plants and I will show them, but this was pretty much the end. I hope you enjoyed looking at all the plants with me, and I want you to comment and tell me if you saw one that you really loved, or if you saw one that you have already. If you like these types of videos where I combine my love of plants with my love of betta fish, let me know and maybe I can make some more of these in the future. So don't forget to go to the description and join, if you have not yet, join my free Facebook group, the Betta Fish Forum. It is the best place to meet and talk with and share your betta with other betta parents. All right, with that said, thank you for sticking around. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel to see more. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you soon.